What if I told you there's a place where pigs swim in turquoise water, there are no income taxes, and pirates once ruled the streets? Welcome to the Bahamas. Not just a tropical paradise, but a land full of bizarre stories and jaw-dropping surprises. From mysterious ocean sinkholes to pink beaches made by microscopic creatures, this island nation has it all. Let's dive into the 15 craziest and most fascinating facts about the Bahamas. No income tax in the Bahamas. Paradise for your paycheck. Living in the Bahamas doesn't just mean enjoying turquoise waters. It also means keeping your entire salary. That's right. The country imposes zero personal income tax, no capital gains tax, and no inheritance tax. This unique policy makes the Bahamas one of the most tax-friendly countries on Earth, attracting high-net-worth individuals, entrepreneurs, and digital nomads. But it's not a tax-free utopia without trade-offs. The government generates most of its revenue through VAT, value-added tax at 12%, customs duties, and tourism-related fees. That means everyday goods and services, including food, gas, and electronics, can be significantly more expensive than in countries with income taxes. Despite that, the financial privacy and simplicity of the system make it appealing for those looking to legally reduce their tax burden. The Bahamas also has a thriving offshore banking and financial services industry, although it has tightened regulations in recent years to align with international standards. It's not a loophole, it's a lifestyle choice. And while you won't be dodging the tax man, you might be dodging coconuts falling from the trees instead. The swimming pigs of Big Major Cay. On a remote, uninhabited island in the Exumas lives a colony of pigs who love to swim. And they're not a myth. Big Major Cay, now famously nicknamed Pig Beach, has no human residents, but dozens of wild pigs roam its white sands and paddle in the clear Caribbean shallows. No one knows exactly how they got there. Some say sailors left them behind with the intention of returning. They didn't. While others claim they survived a shipwreck and made the beach their home. Regardless of origin, the pigs have adapted to their bizarre tropical life. They swim out to greet boats, expecting snacks from giggling tourists. And yes, they're friendly. In fact, they're so used to visitors that they'll pose for photos and occasionally chase after people who come empty-handed. It's like a strange dream. Wild pigs paddling in turquoise water against a backdrop of palm trees. This weird phenomenon has become one of the Bahamas' biggest tourism draws, featured in countless Instagram posts and travel documentaries. The island proves that even in paradise there's room for a little chaos and a lot of pork. Sir Lynden Pindling, founding father of modern Bahamas. The Bahamas gained independence from the United Kingdom on July 10, 1973, becoming a sovereign nation within the Commonwealth. This historic moment was led by Sir Lynden Oscar Pindling, who became the country's first black prime minister. Pindling had already made history in 1967, when his Progressive Liberal Party, PLP, won the general election, ending centuries of white minority rule. Known as the father of the nation, Pindling was instrumental in shaping the modern Bahamian state, promoting majority rule, social reform, and national pride. He governed the Bahamas for an unprecedented 25 years, making him one of the longest-serving leaders in Caribbean history. His leadership saw the expansion of tourism, offshore finance, and public infrastructure. However, his later years in office were marked by controversies involving alleged corruption and links to drug trafficking, although he was never formally charged. Despite this, his legacy as a nation-builder remains strong in the Bahamian collective memory. Today, his name is honored through airports, highways, and public institutions. Sir Lynden Pindling's role in transforming the Bahamas from a British colony to an independent black-led democracy is a cornerstone of the country's political identity. Sidney Poitier, from Cat Island to Hollywood legend. Sir Sidney Poitier was born on February 12, 1927 in Miami, Florida, while his Bahamian parents were visiting from Cat Island. Although his birth was recorded in the United States, he was raised in the Bahamas and always considered himself deeply Bahamian. Growing up in a rural, poverty-stricken environment without electricity or running water shaped his grounded, humble nature. At the age of 15, he moved to Miami and later to New York, where he worked menial jobs before joining the American Negro Theater. His breakthrough came in the 1950s, when he became one of the first black actors to be cast in non-stereotypical, dignified roles in Hollywood. In 1964, he made history by becoming the first black man to win the Academy Award for Best Actor for his role in Lilies of the Field. His success helped break racial barriers in American cinema during the Civil Rights era. Poitier also had strong ties to Bahamian politics and diplomacy. From 2002 to 2007, he served as the Bahamian ambassador to Japan. He remains a national hero in the Bahamas, symbolizing perseverance, dignity, and global excellence born from a small island nation. The Bahamian flag is a hidden message about the people and the land. The flag of the Bahamas isn't just a colorful pattern, it's a visual story. Adopted in 1973 upon gaining independence from the United Kingdom, the flag features 3 horizontal bands: aquamarine, gold, and aquamarine. These stripes represent the stunning sea and sun that define the nation's geography and culture. But it's the black equilateral triangle on the hoist side that holds the deeper meaning. That triangle stands for the strength, will, and determination of the Bahamian people, pointing toward the flag's center as a symbol of progress and forward motion. The flag was chosen through a national competition and designed by a local artist, blending patriotism with simplicity. It's one of the few flags in the world where the people are visually represented in black, standing in contrast to their natural environment of blue sea and golden light. The symbolism is powerful. Even in a place so defined by its beauty, it's the people who push it forward. Tourists may fall in love with the beaches, but Bahamians know the real treasure is the culture and resilience behind that black triangle. The Bahamas has no rivers, none, zero. In a country made up of over 700 islands, you'd expect at least a few rivers. But the Bahamas completely defies that logic. There isn't a single river anywhere in the archipelago. This isn't just rare, it's almost unheard of. Most countries, even small ones, have some form of flowing freshwater system. But the Bahamas landscape is made up primarily of porous limestone, which doesn't support river formation. Instead of rivers, the islands rely heavily on rainwater catchment, underground aquifers, and desalination plants for fresh water. This geological quirk means that water security is a real concern for locals, especially during dry seasons. It also makes the Bahamas one of the few nations in the world where fresh water is more valuable than rum. Seriously. Even the lush green vegetation in some parts of the islands is made possible by imported irrigation systems or clever use of collected rain. It's a reminder that paradise isn't always as effortless as it looks, especially when you're surrounded by water but can't drink it. Lucayan National Park hides one of the longest underwater cave systems in the world. Beneath the tropical serenity of Grand Bahama Island lies a secret that most tourists never see. One of the longest known underwater cave systems on the planet. The Lucayan National Park, named after the island's original inhabitants, spans over 40 acres of preserved forest, mangroves, and wetlands. But its real treasure is hidden underground. More than 6 miles of submerged limestone tunnels carved over thousands of years. These caves were formed by a combination of erosion, sea level changes, and the island's unique geology. Some chambers are wide enough to swim through comfortably, while others are tight, twisting corridors accessible only to expert cave divers. The system is also an archaeological site. Researchers have discovered ancient Lucayan artifacts and skeletal remains preserved in the caves, offering rare insights into pre-Columbian Bahamian life. Visibility inside the crystal-clear water is stunning, creating an otherworldly diving experience that feels like floating through time. Tourists can visit the park and peer into the entrance of Ben's Cave, one of the main access points, but diving inside requires special permits and skills. It's a reminder that even in paradise, the wildest places are sometimes buried just below the surface. Tourism makes up over half of the Bahamian economy. The Bahamas doesn't just cater to tourists, it depends on them. Tourism accounts for more than 50% of the country's GDP, making it the single largest economic sector by far. Over 7 million visitors arrive each year, mostly by cruise ship or plane, flocking to Nassau, Paradise Island, and the Outer Cays. This constant influx of tourists fuels thousands of jobs in hospitality, transportation, entertainment, and even local crafts. In fact, for many Bahamians, the tourist season directly determines income stability and employment. The government has heavily invested in luxury resorts, marina developments, and airports to support and expand this pillar of the economy. However, this heavy dependence comes with risks. Hurricanes, pandemics, or global recessions can bring the entire system to a halt, as seen dramatically in 2020. To diversify, the Bahamas has also promoted financial services and offshore banking, but tourism remains king. It's both a blessing and a vulnerability, wrapped in sunscreen and sandy footprints. The reality? If the tourists stop coming, the music stops playing. The Bahamas has over 700 islands, but only about 30 are inhabited. The Bahamas may look like a simple vacation spot on a map, but in reality, it's a vast archipelago of more than 700 islands and over 2,000 cays. And here's the twist: only about 30 of those islands are inhabited. That means the overwhelming majority of this stunning country is completely unpopulated. No towns, no roads, no Starbucks in sight. Many of these islands are tiny, wild, and untouched, offering pristine beaches, coral reefs, and hidden coves seen by few humans. Some are privately owned by celebrities and billionaires. Others are government-protected or simply too remote to support infrastructure. This unique geography gives the Bahamas an almost limitless potential for exploration. Every boating trip or seaplane ride feels like a treasure hunt. It also makes the country a dream for yacht owners and island hoppers who want to find their own private paradise. But the scattered nature of the population also poses challenges. Delivering healthcare, education, and emergency services across such fragmented territory isn't easy. Still, for many, the appeal lies exactly in that isolation. The Bahamas isn't just one place, it's hundreds of them. Pink sand beaches that look unreal. Imagine walking on a beach where the sand isn't white, golden, or black, but soft pink, like cotton candy. That's exactly what you'll find on Harbor Island, just off the coast of Eleuthera. The blush-colored sands stretch for nearly 3 miles and owe their unique hue to microscopic coral organisms called foraminifera. These tiny marine creatures have red and pink shells, and when they die, their remains mix with the white sand and crushed coral, creating a dreamy, rose-tinted shoreline. It's not just a visual feast. The sand feels cool and powdery underfoot, even under the blazing Bahamian sun. At sunrise and sunset, the beach glows in surreal pastel tones, making it a magnet for photographers and honeymooners. Scientists have confirmed that the foraminifera population in the surrounding reefs is unusually high, which explains the richness of the pink color. Few places on Earth offer such a naturally occurring palette. And unlike artificially dyed tourist traps, this pink beach is 100% nature-made. It's no exaggeration to say that Harbor Island is home to one of the most beautiful and rare coastlines on the planet. The Bahamas has the third largest barrier reef in the world. Just beneath the surface of the turquoise waters lies an ecological giant, the Andros Barrier Reef. Stretching over 190 miles, that's more than 300 kilometers, it's the third largest barrier reef system on Earth, after Australia's Great Barrier Reef and the Mesoamerican Reef. Located off the coast of Andros Island, this marine marvel is home to more than 160 species of fish and coral, as well as rare sponges found almost nowhere else. The reef is part of a larger ecosystem that includes blue holes, underwater caves, and mangroves, all teeming with life. It also serves as a vital storm barrier, helping protect the islands from erosion and hurricanes. What's even more fascinating is that parts of the reef remain unexplored, offering endless possibilities for marine biologists and divers alike. It's a paradise for eco-tourists and researchers, but also a fragile one, facing threats from rising ocean temperatures and pollution. Conservation groups are working to preserve it, knowing its loss would be catastrophic for both biodiversity and local communities. The Andros Reef isn't just a tourist attraction. It's the lungs, shield, and soul of Bahamian marine life. Junkanoo, the Bahamas' wild, color-soaked street carnival. If you visit the Bahamas during the holidays, prepare for an explosion of color, rhythm, and energy called Junkanoo. This traditional street parade is held annually on Boxing Day, December 26th, and New Year's Day, and it's one of the country's most vibrant cultural expressions. Picture thousands of costumed dancers in elaborate feathered outfits, horn sections blasting brass, and rhythmic cowbells clanging in perfect chaos. The event begins in the early hours of the morning, sometimes around 2 or 3 a.m., and spills through the streets of Nassau, transforming downtown into a living, pulsing work of art. Its origins are believed to trace back to the era of slavery, when West African traditions merged with colonial-era festivities, creating something entirely unique. The name Junkanoo is thought to be derived from John Canoe, a legendary African chief. Today, the festival is both a celebration of freedom and a fierce competition. Local groups spend months preparing costumes, choreography, and music to compete for national glory. Unlike tourist-focused carnivals, Junkanoo is deeply rooted in community pride and cultural identity. It's not just a party. It's the soul of the Bahamian people, expressed in feathers, paint, and percussion. And yes, it's loud, gloriously loud. Columbus first set foot in the New World, in the Bahamas. When Christopher Columbus made his legendary first voyage across the Atlantic in 1492, the first land he sighted wasn't America as we know it today. It was the Bahamas. More precisely, he landed on an island he named San Salvador, which historians widely believe to be what is now called Guanahani, still debated, but likely within the Bahamian archipelago. This moment marked the beginning of European exploration and ultimately colonization of the Americas. Columbus described the island as very flat and with very green trees, and was particularly impressed by the clarity of the surrounding waters. However, while the landing is glorified in Western history books, it's worth noting that the local Lucayan Taino population would soon suffer immensely due to disease, slavery, and exploitation following this discovery. The Bahamian Islands, once populated by peaceful indigenous people, were quickly depopulated as the Spanish enslaved and relocated the locals to work in other colonies. Today, there's a Columbus monument on San Salvador Island commemorating the landing, but modern historians are increasingly emphasizing the darker consequences of that contact. Still, the fact remains, the Bahamas is where European boots first touched the so-called New World. It all started on these shores, for better or worse. Nassau, once the pirate capital of the Caribbean. In the late 1600s and early 1700s, Nassau wasn't the polished cruise port we know today. It was an outlaw paradise. Pirates ruled the harbor, the taverns, and even the local politics. With no formal government to stop them, infamous figures like Edward Teach, better known as Blackbeard, used Nassau as a base for raiding ships in the surrounding waters. At one point, there were more pirates than civilians in town. They called it the Republic of Pirates, a self-governed anarchic haven for outlaws of the sea. British authorities struggled to regain control until 1718, when they sent Governor Woodes Rogers to restore order. He arrived with warships and a royal pardon offer. Some pirates accepted amnesty, others fought back and were executed in public squares. Today, you can still visit sites like the Pirates of Nassau Museum, which dives into this swashbuckling chapter of Bahamian history. The legacy of piracy remains a colorful, if brutal, part of the island's identity, and one of its most compelling tourist lures. It's not just a Disney fantasy. The Bahamas really was the wildest corner of the seven seas. The Bahamas has the most beautiful waters seen from space. You don't need to be a diver or sailor to appreciate the Bahamas' breathtaking waters. Even astronauts are in awe. From hundreds of miles above Earth, NASA astronauts have repeatedly described the Bahamian seas as the most vivid and stunning on the planet. The reason? The shallow banks and white sandy bottoms around the islands reflect sunlight in brilliant turquoise, aqua, and teal hues that can be seen clearly from space. In fact, photos taken from the International Space Station have gone viral for looking more like paintings than real landscapes. According to astronaut Chris Hadfield, the Bahamas look like jewels scattered on a glass table. The swirling patterns of light and shadow are caused by underwater sand waves, coral reefs, and ocean currents. Satellite imagery has also helped scientists map the topography of the seafloor around the islands with incredible precision. These images aren't just pretty. They've been used to study climate patterns, reef health, and even shipwreck locations. It's rare that something looks better from space than on Earth, but the Bahamas might be the exception. It's the only country whose beauty is literally out of this world. If this blew your mind, wait until you see what else I've uncovered about the wildest places on Earth. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a new episode from Andy Explores the World. Drop a like, leave a comment with your favorite Bahamian fact, and tell me where I should explore next. And don't forget to check the pinned comment below. I've linked a special playlist packed with even more mind-blowing travel facts and exotic destinations. Trust me, you're going to want to binge them all.